inside the Etihad Stadium. It is City 2, West Ham 1. Well, let's go back to the studio and we can join FG.
Yes, thank you very much, Ali. Manchester City 2, West Ham 1. A great start to the first half. I'm joined in the studio by Nedum, Onuoha, Joleon, Lescott and Steph Houghton. Steph, initial thoughts on the first half as we see the players going into the dressing room?
I think we started the half unbelievable. It couldn't have been any more perfect start, really, in terms of Phil scoring and then us getting another goal. Obviously disappointed with the goal that we conceded, but I think we're still in control of this game and looking forward to the second half.
And a word on the atmosphere, Joleon, in this stadium. We had the door open in the studio so we could experience it, and wow, it was special. Wasn't
it was amazing, as expected with an early goal. It changed slightly as they scored, and after their goal, a bit more subdued, quieter, but again, we're in the driving seat here, so you're expected to them to lift it again.
Yeah, we're leading at half-time. It's 2-1. There'll probably be a few people a little bit more nervous since that strike. We'll start with the first goal. 2 minutes it took, Nedum. Phil Foden.
What a way to start, eh?
And what a strike. It reminds me of a certain game this season.
Which one? The Real Madrid or the Man United one? Yeah, he's not too bad at receiving the ball in that little space on the half turn, and the strike again is so clean. You know, credit to him, like, he's good at finding those spaces where the defence can't really get up to him, but he can still be in a position where he can finish with the goal. I think as that ball went in, like, you know, all these people, the delight to see Phil Foden score the goal, and there was a huge sigh of relief as such, because it's like, well, start well, this is the best way, isn't it?
Back to that Manchester United goal, we can take a look at it now on Matchday Live, Joleon. Talk us through this one as well.
Yeah, again, you can see he always wants to work on his left foot, and obviously it's something he must practice, because it's new this season, you would say, but the level of confidence he has in his ability, and that's what training and practicing does. It gives you a level of confidence and belief that you can execute, especially in the game. And the way Pep's got these guys training, it's every rep is game mode, so you expect nothing less now.
It's like a carbon copy, that goal, isn't it, Steph? The one that we've seen this afternoon.
Yeah, I think it's more his touch to get it out of his feet. I think we've just been speaking about how good his touch is, and I think it's in them moments when you've got so much pressure on you to be able to get that perfect, but also the strike, it couldn't have been any more top corner.
That's his 6th goal from outside the area in the Premier League, more than any other City player. The goals he scored this year have been special, and then he got a second one as well, Nedum.
Yeah.
Great work from Jeremy Doku down the left-hand side.
Absolutely. I think Doku, when he can add some sort of energy into the attack, he's definitely doing it. I think squaring up Sue foul, sometimes he's double-teamed, but he wants to try and finish the action as well. He put a good ball into the box, and it's even better because Phil is making sure he's in the right spot. I think when he plays centrally, he can affect the game in that sort of manner. I think at times, if he's out wide, maybe he'll be the next in line to receive that. But he's got such a great sense of knowing where to be at the right time.
And people will be watching that finish and they'll think, oh, it's quite a simple one. But the sweep and finish, Joleon, it's not an easy one, is it?
None of the finishes are easy, especially for me as an ex-defender. The hardest part is probably the timing and recognising when's the right time to get into the box. And execution, he would be comfortable with because it's a technique and he's technically outstanding. But to understand what's happening now, when's Jeremy going to cut in and when's he going to release the ball, so the timing of it is probably more impressive for me anyway.
2 goals for Phil, and we could have added a third on a couple of occasions. West Ham went on the other end towards the end of the first half, and what a goal that was.
Yeah, I think we spoke before the game that there were going to be threats on set pieces and corners. They've got height in there, they've got someone that can deliver the ball good, but I don't think we expected them scoring a goal from a corner like that. It was an unbelievable finish, and yeah, I mean, credit for the actual quality. It deserves a goal like that. So disappointing from City's point of view. Probably want to go into the game 2-0, but I don't think it'll change too much in terms of the second half and how we approach it.
Has half-time come at a good time for us, Nedum, in a way, because the game was sort of very much comfortable for us, and we had like a little bit of a spell at the end where West Ham had a lot of the ball.
Yeah, they had a lot of the ball, but I think for me, the telltale sign about like a real quality side is where do they have the ball? I think the best sides have it in the opposition's half. You know, they're able to move it side to side there in a sort of confident manner, and that requires personality and structure. And I don't think West Ham necessarily had that. We could see their threat. They were switching some more balls over from right to left and left to right, get some balls in the box, and you know that's what led to the corner because Kyle had to defend something at the back post. But I think for the managers and the coaches, yes, you could probably remind the players, everybody calm down. This is what we need to do, and just pass on a message going to see them through the second half.
What about the atmosphere in the stadium, Joleon, when that first West Ham goal went in at the same time or similar time as Arsenal equalised, and the atmosphere changes a little bit? As a player, do you sense that?
Not necessarily, not all the time. Obviously, that happens, momentum changes. You expect the home crowd or the crowd of the team conceding to be more quieter, but I think the timing of the Arsenal goal, I'm sure, made a few more fans nervous.
It's interesting how it all works out, isn't it, Steph? When there's goals going in, when you're on top.
Oh, it went from like a 3-goal change to 1. Now it's just 1.
From a City perspective, it's that typical City DNA. It still exists within people, and they can suppress it for most of the season. But as soon as it gets towards the end, like, it just starts to come back up again. It's like, oh no, it's happening. But I think given how good the players are and the fact that they don't have that gene, I think it's something to keep an eye on instead, because they'll be fine.
Well, yeah, I was relaxed until that goal went in. Like, heart rate's gone up a little bit more, but Pep, Steph, will be very, very calm. Probably the calmest man in the stadium, you think, at half-time.
Yeah, I think so, and I think he'll probably have spotted something that we haven't even spotted from up here from a tactical point of view, and he'd probably want them to be even better. I mean, look, we talk about the chances we could be potentially 4-5 up in terms of Haaland's chance. The keeper's made some really good saves. But yeah, I think for me, Pep, we've been in this situation before. He's so experienced, and I'm sure he's telling the lads. And you know what, the lads in the change room, they will drive the standards as much as him, and they're used to this experience now.
And they trust Pep as well, because I think after the Champions League final, it was Erling Haaland who said, "Don't worry, he will sort it." Speaking about Pep halfway through the Champions League final, they fully trust the manager and everything, don't they?
Well, why wouldn't you? He sees the game differently to most. Again, recently I've been sitting on a lower tier and watching the games, and I've struggled to work out how he actually sees the game, the way he watches it and figures out the patterns and what's wrong and how he can improve. So he's definitely a genius from that aspect, but yeah, they have full belief because he's executed so many times.
So back to what you were saying, so you're saying when you're pitch side like he is, it's
100%, yeah, watching a game here is so different. Like, you can see who's in the right position and who can receive it, who potential options, but when you're down there to see the opposite winger or the opposite number 10, 8, oh, is he in the right position, and to recognise that he's not or he is and where the pass should go, it's a totally different aspect of the game.
How do you see the start of the second half going, Nedum?
I don't think they'll necessarily come out all guns blazing, in my opinion, because they weren't doing too bad. I think obviously West Ham have scored and the Arsenal game is doing what it's doing, so there is anxiety as such in the stadium. But I think he'll just pass on the right message and understand that, like, if you keep doing the right things, like, West Ham will, I think they'll break down. Or if West Ham want to try and win the game, I think they'll change their formation, which will play into City's hands more. But for me, City is still very much in the driving seat. They've got the players on the field who understand the situation of having to control the lead, and they've got all the fans behind them. You know, this isn't the hostile atmosphere that, you know, they were facing on Tuesday away at Spurs. This is something different. So I think the cards, they hold all the cards. And I, you know, as I say, I could be proven wrong, but I'm super confident.
Still feeling confident, both of you, Joleon and Steph?
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Listen, today we're, of course, celebrating Steph's amazing career, and so the people on WhatsApp. We've got a lovely thing from Kylie, and it says, "For Steph from Kylie, I just wanted to say that I got into watching women's football because of you. You were the first player that caught my eye with your leadership, never say die attitude, and killer free kicks. I made the trip down to Villa Park yesterday, and I cried when you came on. You're so loved by the fans. Thank you so much for 10 years. When will we be getting the statue outside the joint?"
God, you're probably this big.
Still a
I
statue.
actually haven't got a clue.
I mean, yeah, back to what we were saying. I mean, it's so nice. Thank you so much for sending that.
No,
in,
thank
by the
you.
way.
That means a lot.
It's so nice that people are obviously realising, and we hope you realise as well how amazing.
She won't realise in months' time. It's not until you retire and you realise, one, what you've done as a player, but also what you mean to a lot of people. So, and it's going to transcend for Steph, because it's not just Man City. It's not the area of Manchester where, say, it is slightly for me, but
It's the game.
It's the game.
Thanks.
Have you had a moment to let it all sink in?
Not really, no. I was
from a
just talking
hangover?
before, yeah. Been on a night out last night, guys. Celebrating retirement. You know what, I haven't. It's been a bit of a whirlwind these last few weeks, and you're obviously trying to get things sorted for after football as well, but I'm sure it will over the next couple of weeks, I think, when you have a little bit of time to kind of reflect and relax a little bit.
What do you want to do first, Steph?
Go on holiday.
So what is next then after the holiday and stuff?
Hopefully to still be working with the club. I think that's the most ideal scenario, which is what I spoke about when I first signed, was to end it here and to kind of go into something else. I don't know what that kind of looks like, but just going to work that out over the next few months and hopefully spend more time with you guys. That would be good.
Well, yeah, hopefully. We really enjoy having you here. So let's hope so. We've got another one from Margers, and he says, considering we are on the verge of making history and we won the FA Youth Cup this season, a question about one legend, Paul Lake. In terms of talent, is Paul Lake the biggest talent ever? coming through the academy, or is it Phil Foden?
Wowzers. Listen, I didn't see him as a talent, so I can't really comment on that as such, but I did see Phil Foden. And I think the way that this is probably the best version of City that maybe has ever existed. And he's one of the best players in it, and he came through the academy. I think as far as talent goes, like, Phil has to be a clear one for me. And it's not to diminish Paul or anyone like that, but Phil Foden's like Phil Foden.
Yeah.
And I personally can't get away from that.
And a word on this Manchester City setup and the academy stuff. Like, they do so much. The facilities are incredible, and winning the Youth Cup as well, the FA Youth Cup, just is proof at how well we are doing across all age groups.
Yeah, and I think I went to that game and it was 0-0 at half-time, but it could have been 4-5, and they were so in control of the game that it looked easy for the boys, and you see them work every single day, and you talk about Phil's touch and him getting on the half-turn. I know that they tell the boys and the girls to be practicing that every single day from the age of 6-7, and it becomes so natural, and they so love the ball as well.
Yeah, I've got to say though, like, it goes beyond the FA Youth Cup win, because they've only, well, not that they've won it 4 times.
Yeah.
But I was at the Academy Awards dinner the other day, and you're looking at the success that every age group has, but you're also looking at, say, the players that have been on loan. You're talking about, say, in the Champions League final, you've seen like Bino Gittins and other people like that who've come through the academy. You've seen Jadon Sancho's, you know what I mean? Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
Like, if we're talking academy, let's talk academy and really see how important this is to world football.
To the pyramid of football.
What I mean?
That was when I worked there. That was the biggest thing we tried to do, was not produce Phil Fodens, because they're unique prodigies. You're not going to get one of them every year, but you can produce players for the pyramid, and I don't even know how many players this club's produced.
And then Callum Doyle, of course, he won the league for Leicester in the Championship. He's a Premier League player now as well. And there's so many players. Jeremy Frimpong.
There's loads. You could go through, like, this league. You could probably pick one in each country, which is crazy. Like, and then one in each league in England. So yeah, the club is producing footballers, and that's the responsibility the club should take.
Let's have a word on when you were working, of course, with England. Cole Palmer's just won Young Player of the Season, like we mentioned. The talents that, obviously, English football has is so important, but people like Cole and plays through Manchester City, did they have anything different about them?
Yeah, they obviously have a belief. I think this generation has a different belief in their talent and what they're capable of, and they don't have a fear that previous generations probably had. And I've spoken with Nedum a few times, and it was the biggest gripe I have with that was it wasn't documented, because you wouldn't be as surprised what Cole Palmer's doing, or Curtis Jones, or Anthony Gordon. You wouldn't be surprised, because Anthony Gordon won Player of the Tournament and played up front. Curtis Jones played as a 6, and like, they probably don't buy Gravenbach, because when we play Holland, he's dominating him. So there's so much to come from seeing that talent and seeing how they play. And yeah, it was just unfortunate they didn't get documented the way, like, so they got paraded because they won and the way they won, but it wasn't documented because you didn't see the performances.
What's changed, Nedum, from the academy days and when all you were in the academy compared to now?
Well, everything. that's the first place to begin. I think they start from younger, and they do things in a different way as well.
Under 6s now?
Yeah, exactly. Like, when I think I was the youngest age group when I started, and I was an under 10. Yeah. So things have changed from that standpoint, and also some of the resources. And it's not for these kids. They don't expect it. They don't have to use it to be great, but they're the ones that use it to make themselves better. And you can see something that's a little bit different, because the ones that make it all the way through, they wouldn't necessarily have needed everything along that journey there. But when they can maximise their potential...
the support for the families. Like, the responsibility was on our parents, and only our parents to get us there. Now it's shared, so there is buses and transport, so it helps so much.
And of course, the women's game as well, Steph, has improved so much, and it's still improving. We saw it even with renaming the stadium the Joy Stadium this year, which was massive. Yeah, the investment and the interest in the game has been massive, and that's down to a lot of people, not just those that play, but everybody around it. And speaking about coaching in terms of the centre and the academy at the girls, is just that there are going to be some superstars that come through our academy and hopefully are in our first team in years to come. Well, we definitely hope so. Second half is on the way. Quick final thoughts from you all. How do you see it going, Steph? Still the same. I feel as though they're going to attack the second half like they did the first half, and hopefully be champions by the end of this.
Yeah, I see my scoreline still on point. It's 3-1, hopefully. I just don't see West Ham scoring 2 goals.
Nedum feeling the same as well?
He's my senior pro, so I'm going to stick with him. 3-1 for the win, yeah.
They're sticking together today.
We are 45 minutes away from a record-breaking 4th Premier League title in a row. let's hope it all goes well, and let's head back to our commentary team for the second half.
Thank you, FG. Welcome back to the Etihad Stadium. There's no City players out on the pitch. The West Ham ones are. Now out come the Blues. And the reality is that they played well enough in that first half. They were stung by an absolute wonder goal from a gifted footballer. But that's why we love the game of football, because players of the quality of Kudus can do things like that. And that is why at 2-0 we knew the job wasn't done. At 2-1 it most definitely isn't done. Alongside me, their former City midfielder Michael Brown. Would you be more concerned if City weren't playing as well as they did?
Playing very, very well, strong.